Hi guys! So in this lesson and the next few lessons, we're going to be learning all about animations. So animation basically means to make something move. And this is probably the most exciting part of PowerPoint, is watching things move and do things on our slide. So come and join me and we're going to master animations. All right, let's get started with animations. So this is probably the most fun part of PowerPoint, is making things move and making shapes do things. So I'm very excited to start teaching you this area of PowerPoint. So to start with, I'm just going to put some shapes on the screen. So for this sake, I'm going to put some stars. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this a few times. Okay, let's make 4 of these. All right, so we have the shape on the slide. Now, if I click on this, now I'm not going to play with these shape settings over here. I want to click on the Animations tab. So, like I said in the intro, animations help make shapes move. And there are 4 kinds of animation. And if you click over here, Add Animation, you'll see all of the animations that PowerPoint has over here. So we're going to go through what these animations do, okay? So all of these green ones, they are called entrance animations. So that means we can bring a shape onto the slide. So at the beginning of the slide, it's not on the screen, but we can animate it. So that means we can move it onto the slide. So these are really cool. So I'm going to give you one example. I'm going to put a zoom. So you can see it's not on the slide and then it appears onto the slide. So I'll just show you this again by clicking preview. If you see preview on the top left, if I click this, it will show me this animation. So my star is now coming onto the slide. So this is an entrance animation. So all of these green ones, they bring the shape onto the slide. So these yellow ones, these are called emphasis animations. So we can use these when our shape is already on the slide, and we can make these shapes move while they're on the slide. So for this one, I'm just going to put, let me choose the second shape, and I'm going to put a spin emphasis animation. So now my shape will spin like this. All right. So let's preview these animations. So we've got the entrance and we have the emphasis animation here. Okay, let's go to the red ones. These ones are called the exit animations. So you've probably guessed it. We can use this animation when we want to remove the shape from the slide. So when we want it to go away. So I'm going to click another zoom and you'll see it disappears. So now the shape has left my slide. So let's have a look. If I click preview one more time, we have the entrance, it comes, and then it will disappear. All right. And the last one, so we've had entrance, we've had emphasis, and we've had exit animations. The last one are these motion path animations. So this means we can make them move in a line, in an arc, in a circle. We can also create our own path for the shape to follow. So I'll just do a simple one, a line. So you'll see it's coming down over here. But you'll see we have a green dot and we have a red dot. So green dot is where the shape will start. Red dot is where the shape will end. So let me put the star down here. Let me move it down. Okay, so let's play all of these one more time. Let's preview this. So entrance, emphasis, exit animation, and a motion path. We can move this shape. All right, so these are really cool, except there is one problem with this. If I go into the slideshow mode, so slideshow mode is where we're going to show everybody our PowerPoint. So you'll see the first star is not on the PowerPoint. Remember, we put an entrance animation. So that means if I click my right button, the shape will appear on the slide. If I keep clicking the right button, the next shape will animate. If I click the right button on the mouse, on the keyboard, the next one will disappear, will zoom out. So that's the exit animation. And if I click right one more time, then the last one should move downwards. Okay, so I'm just going to click escape, and now I can get back to this slide. So there is one really big problem with this, because right now, the first star over here, it's going to animate first. Let me change this color so it's a lot easier to see. The orange star will animate after that. Then the yellow star will animate third, and then the last star will animate fourth. But what happens if I want to animate the yellow star before the blue star? Well, now we have a kind of problem here. But lucky for you, we can control when animations happen by using triggers. So I'm going to show you what a trigger is right now. So I'm going to put a circle on my screen. I'm going to make this circle orange. Now look what happens. If I click on the shape and I go back to animations, if I click the number, you see this? Number 1 is going to play first. Number 2 will play next. Third will go after that. And fourth animation will play last. But if I click on this number 2, you'll see up here we have something called a trigger. Trigger means I want to play the animation when I click a shape on my slide. So I just put the circle, so it's called oval 7. I know this because I only have one circle on the slide. So if I click this one, now this animation will only play if I click this circle. So we can test this one. Let's see what happens. So the first star should animate first. Now, do you remember when I clicked right after this one, the orange star would spin? But if I click right this time, oh, you see the orange star didn't spin anymore because I didn't click this circle. All right? So this star will spin only if I click the circle. I can click it again, and I can click it again. So you see, I can control when this animation happens. But with the other way, I cannot control when the animations happen. They're going in a path, a first, a second, a next, after that, and finally structure. Okay, so I really like triggers. Triggers are very, very useful. It gives us a lot of control, and you're going to see later when we create a nice game how useful triggers can be. Okay, so speaking of games, let's start with a very simple game to put triggers into practice and some animations too. Okay, so let me put a box onto my slide. I'm just going to keep the box blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put another box next to it, like this one. And do you remember what we said about the selection pane? We can name these boxes. So I'm going to call box left, and I'm going to call this one box right. All right, great. And now what I'm going to do, if I go back to shapes, I'm going to click this little box called a text box up here. So that's going to allow me to put a letter inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an X. Let's see if you can guess what game I'm making. Let's make this very big. Okay, have you guessed what game I'm making yet? We're going to make a tic-tac-toe game. Okay, so I'm going to put this X over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this X. And this time I'm not going to put an X, I'm going to put the letter O. Okay. All right, so now let's put an animation onto this X. I want it to appear onto the screen. So do you remember how we do this? We're going to click Animations, Add Animation. and I want to put an entrance animation on it. I want it to come onto the screen. So I'm going to keep, I love the zoom, but play around with these. See what each of these animations do. So I'm going to click zoom, so you can see the X will appear on the slide. I'm going to do exactly the same with the O. I'm going to put a zoom animation to make it appear on the slide. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the X, and remember, select the first animation. And I want this to happen when I click the left box. So box left. So now that X will appear only if I click the left box. And I'm going to do exactly the same for the O, except I want it to happen when I click on the right box. Perfect. So now if I put them on top of each other, it doesn't look like much, but let's have a look. If we go to the slideshow mode, click on slideshow from beginning. So you can see if I click the left box, the X will appear. If I click on the right box, the O should appear. Now, it looks quite boring. Uh, what happens if I take these two boxes and I change them to the same color as the background? So we know how to do that already. We can right click, format object, and we can choose the colors. Or if you want to be faster, we can choose the colors up here. So I'm going to make these boxes white, and I'm also going to make the background white. Perfect. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some lines on the side of these boxes over here. Perfect. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these things and I'm going to copy them. I'm going to move them along. Absolutely perfect. So now I'm going to take just those two boxes and the two letters, and I'm going to copy these to the other side. So you can see this tic-tac-toe game is kind of taking shape. Excellent. And now I'm going to do exactly the same, but this time we're going to go the opposite direction. We're going to go down horizontally. So let's go down this way. Again, let's select all of these boxes and the line. I'm going to copy them. To copy them, I'm just holding Control and Shift at this exactly the same time. And I'm going to do that one more time, except I'm going to hold Control and click on the line because I don't want to take the line with me this time. And now I'm going to copy these shapes down here. Perfect. So let's see how our tic-tac-toe game looks. So we've used basic entrance animation, and we've used some nice triggers here. So remember, can you see the mouse? So now I know there's no box here, but if I move my mouse here, oh, you can see the hand has now changed. So I know there's a box here, and I know there's a box on this side too. So remember the left box and the right box. If I click on the left box, I know the X appears. And if I go to another area, I know if I click on the right box, an O should appear. If I click on the left box again, I know an X should appear. If I click on the right box, I know the O should appear. So this is very, very nice. We can play a little tic-tac-toe game here. And I've just created this in just a few minutes. Basic entrance animation and a few triggers. So this is the very basics of animation. Play around with them. And in the next lesson, we're going to dive into more advanced animation techniques. So I hope you enjoyed it, and can't wait to have you in the next video with me. Take care.